It's about race relations in America.
Let's be real here.
Yeah, some seem to be oblivious for a variety of reasons.
There's this thing called,
But I'm gonna put it out there. Culture. Put it in your house.
you know, like when
Gonna
you don't
put it
say
in your
anything to the racists in the room,
Gonna put it in your children's books.
who is typically your daughter's
We're
room.
gonna put them in schools too.
What is your daughter's room? You know, like the rest. It's that predatory behavior.
Roses are red, violence is blue.
Yeah, it's predatory.
When your skin is
Predators
black,
don't survive.
injustices they'll do. Illegal action, my life's a fraction, defended by legal fashion. It's in the culture, America's vulture. Blackbird, 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 red revolter, hiding in plain sight is what they do. It's not just us they're after you too. Big trucks, bright lights, symbols of Old South. We surrender when in doubt. None are exempt from these cowardly beasts. Hold contempt for all, to say the least. You're slick, you're slimy, nothing but a snake. Take off the head, and the body will shake. But trembling for you ain't unfamiliar. Minority bound, your version of Thriller. Erase, 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 erase. And taking one soldier down brings thousands to life. We don't die in vain, we don't die in vain. Your cause will smite. So right your wrong. Now facing the left in 2022, 45 up left. Your memories on block. You boys surrendered. The union sent a message. Return sender. First you fight to keep slavery. Your actions even then just unsavory. Now you want to build a damn wall and got this chick named Karen making all these big calls, donning symbols and signs of hatred. You have the nerve all in the same breath to call yourselves America's patriots. You're slick, you're slimy, nothing but a snake. Take off the head and the body will shake. But trembling for you ain't unfamiliar. Minority bound, it's your version of Thriller. Erase, 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 place. Your existence, no semblance, skin color, resemblance. They're not like you, even spite you. Civil war will fight you. Process to understand what your forefathers wrote. Four fingers folded down, one left up for your hope. Hide if you want to, slither if you can. There'll be no mercy, there'll be no mercy from the African. In beast revolution mode, waiting for you. Cross the line in the sand, now compensation due. You're slick, you're slimy, nothing but a snake. Take off the head, and the body will shake. But trembling for you ain't unfamiliar. Minority bound. Your version of Thriller. Erase. The movement has begun. Ain't no stopping us now. Our fists are raised and raised up high. We've taken our vow. We know who you are. Others will be found out. That privilege you once flaunted just ran out. So you opened the door. Now we're coming through. The last man standing won't be you. It's what you asked for. Now it's in your face. Black lives matter, most certainly is the case. So head for the hills, crawl under a rock, emulate your generals, the laughing stock. No fear here, black lives are at stake. We can breathe, the soldiers await. You're slick, you're slimy, nothing but a snake. Take off the head, and the body will shake. But trembling for you ain't unfamiliar. Minority bound, your version of Thriller. Erase. Welcome to station WDDWM. We don't die, we multiply. Where the music is good, made just for the hood. Where the old saying goes, I wish all Nicole would. Yeah, 30 days into the new year, and all the indications show that the murder rate in the city is not going to be low. Just last night, we visited 4 families' homes to give them our condolences. Let them know it wasn't anyone from our crew, because we loved our sister and a 2-year-old son too. We told them all that we would get them justice, us being from the streets and all, because the system don't care about us. Can't expect for the police to do their jobs right now, because it's collection time from the locals and we all got to eat. Hard trying to keep peace out there on the streets, But it's the same across the nation, be you at LAX or Grand Central Station, in the comfort of your home or incarceration. Freedom. What's that? There's only 2 sides to the fence. Ever wonder what side you're really on? Over there, you go to Steak and Shake. Over here, they just shake you for your steak. Commissary, just like the corner store. They don't live here anymore. 300% markup on all their products. No contribution to the community. Call 911 on you. Snitching for their immunity. Unscathed. Not in this life. Soul riddled, economy brittle. Where do you fit in? Somewhere in the middle? A centerpiece. Sounds about right. All eyes on you and me when the money ain't right. It seems the only time a child really knows what daddy does is when the electric is turned off, or where daddy goes when he catches mama with Uncle Bob and no clothes. Mama writes a lot of letters for us. Says she's sending them to Santa in the South Pole. I thought he was up north. We ain't seen him for about 3 years. Now, about that ho, ho, ho they all keep yelling about, it seems Daddy and Santa are both out all that night, flying solo.
That ain't right.
That ain't right.
What's going on, y'all? This is your man, Shabiroline. What's happening? What's popping? Yeah, another episode of Daddy's Right Here Live. Yep. But anywho, so what's going on? I'm losing sight of days, man. I'm waking up and I don't even know what day it is. I don't know if it's early dementia kicking in, or whether it's the retirement adjustment kicking in with me being home uh, every day. It's not that I ain't working. I'm working. I'm working. Elaine, for you, if y'all been watching your feeds, I've been getting a ton of ads out. I got a new collection that's going to be coming out within the next few days. Yeah, the Ashley collection. Yeah, the Ashley collection was supposed to be the first group of stuff that was put out, but still learning about this online shopping, kind of thing. It's like, okay, so almost got it. Just need the sales, and I know God's will, the sales come. So yeah, so it's been an adjustment, man. I swore today was Friday. I was sitting on the patio last night. Uh, Me, the wife, and the hooker. We was just out there, chilling on the patio. Yeah, me, the wife, and the hooker. I know what I said. So we was out there. It's like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up this morning, swore it was Friday. So I make some phone calls, take care of some business. She said, "You going to do your show this morning?" Yeah, yeah. I'm in my element. You know that, nephew. So last week we were talking about the situationship, right? Well, it's been known by many other names, you know. Well, we're gonna do the kind version, but I'm not gonna be kind in uh, having a discussion about it because all too often we find ourselves in these situationships, and there's a children involved, and it's none of their fault that you decided, that I decided, that we decided to be sexually involved with someone, not using protection, and the end result was a planned pregnancy. Stop saying that it was an unplanned pregnancy. If you didn't use a condom, if you weren't on 100% birth control, because there is none other than abstinence, it was a planned pregnancy. Let's call it what it is. Let's not call it something that's more pleasing, more appealing. No, no. Dudes, when you're running around squirting seed all over the place, right? You know you have life in that sperm. Period. If you've had not that incision, that cut, that clip, yeah. Trust me. At 61, I thought mine had like rotted to hell. Nope. They still bearing their stars and stripes and heading for the hill. Somebody made it through. Yeah. Love her to death. Never saw this one coming. But it's a problem. It's a problem because it leads to so many single-minded parents who ostracize the other parent who they most times don't even know. You know nothing about the person. They look good, smell good, taste good. Don't mean it's good. Don't mean it's good. Why do the children have to continue to suffer? You knew the decision that was made for the relationship to happen. You knew that. You knew it was a mixture for disaster. You knew that. But you wanted what you wanted. You got what you wanted and then some. and then some. So yes, it's an even bigger situation now than it was when it started out. Because you won't let it go. He won't let it go. And y'all just keep going at each other's throats. Every time there's an encounter between the two of you on the telephone, it's chaos, it's drama, theatrics. And most of that's just simply grounded in guilt, shame, and embarrassment for this even happening. That's how you deal with guilt, shame, and embarrassment? For real? Yeah. No sense of responsibility, no sense of the responsibility of a parent. Because this wasn't about being a parent. It was a parent that you weren't thinking any more than the other person. Own it. Own it. And it's even worse if the shot wasn't even good. Yeah. And it was just one time. And it was a bad shot. You didn't like it. Didn't feel like what you thought it was going to feel like. Everything changed. Now you're mad. You couldn't, girl. Right? And this is the problem. It's a problem because you develop all this hatred, all this animosity towards another person for something you partook in. You partook in the situation. Now you made it her, man. This girl, she got my life is just on lock. I can't do nothing. I can't do nothing. I can't get nothing. I can't buy nothing. I can't do nothing. Right? Because she decided to have the baby. That makes sense to you? She decided to have the baby. So let me get this right. Now you want her to get rid of something that you contributed to. And now that the baby is here, you want her to act nice with you when you literally picked her apart because she chose to have a child that you aided in bringing about. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So you got to work through this kind of stuff now. You got to work through all the shame, guilt, embarrassment, and nobody's going to say, yo, I'm embarrassed that I put myself in this situation. I'm ashamed of myself putting another human being in harm's way because of my bad behavior. So you have to work through that. But a lot of times, that part, you don't even get to because you're too busy pointing fingers at the other person. You're too busy bringing harm upon the child with your mouth, with your bad behavior about the other person. Oh, she ain't this, she ain't that, he ain't this, and he ain't that. And it's a matter of, why? Because you need to try to vindicate yourself. You need to try to vindicate yourself. Tell them the truth after the fact. When you're layering on other stuff, you're forcing the child to make a decision as to what they think or feel about the other parent. You're not here. I'm here. I have the ability to fill the child's head with anything I want. What I put into that child's ear becomes the truth. Becomes the truth to them. You're there. I'm not. There's only one side to the story, the truth. This is what I did. This is what I didn't do. I don't have to exert energy in trying to tell the child the truth. If the child wants to know the truth, then the child should be asking both parents and not one parent. And most of the times, that kind of light is not shown until that child of yours becomes a parent themselves. That's when the light is going to be shining. But when you put energy into covering up the crime, because it should be a criminal offense for one parent to be bashing and degrading and desecrating the humanity of the other person. It should be a criminal offense for any parent to prevent that child from seeing that parent. It should be a criminal offense because that child is going to suffer irreparable damage. And I'm saying irreparable because they're going to spend the rest of their lives dealing with it. And when you haven't accepted your role in separating that child from the parent, listen, you can't unsee something you see, right? You can't unfeel something you were forced to feel as a child. And what you're forcing to feel is the absence of the other parent. You can't replace that. That never goes away. That never goes away, man. Oh, you tell yourself that it's good, I'm good. You know, he won there, I'm good. Sorry. Man, now, got this. That's what you convince yourself of. Yeah. That's what you convince yourself of. But it's like going on a road trip and taking the spare out the car and putting it in the garage, right? You going on a road trip, multi-state road trip. You get the car. I'm going to just ride up 95. But you put the spare in the garage before you left. That's what you're ultimately doing. So we were talking about the resolve to some of these things. So again, we were coming from the article "How to Recover from a Situationship." Right? We were talking about being gentle with yourself, and it's a difference between being dishonest with yourself and like really co-signing your own stuff. But it was a matter of like, listen, we're flawed. We're flawed. Our creation, we're flawed. It's just not possible to escape your own self. You can't run away from you. You just can't. Right? So this is what you've done. Accept it. Everybody's got shortcomings. Everybody does things that ain't got no damn business doing that you should have did. And all the woulda, coulda, shouldas in the world ain't going to change what's done. That's just a reality. Right? So allow yourself to grieve. Right? Because at whatever point in time, even if it was just for 15 minutes, at some point in time, it was what you wanted. It was what you wanted. And it's okay. It's no different than going to the store, buying a product. No. Let me give you a better one. Ordering something to wear offline and getting it home and seeing that, well, this don't even look like the picture. That's the first part of the problem. You remember, like the picture. So you have a picture in your mind of what the experience is going to be like with you and that person. You got this picture. Right, so you open up the package. This looks a little darker than it did online. I thought it was like a blue. This looks purple, right? And then you take off your other gear. So now you strip. You strip. right? You got to see what kind of, drawers you got to wear with it, what kind of bra you got to wear with the shoes and all that stuff is going to fit. But you got to strip first. Can't try it on if you don't strip. Y'all follow me here? So then you strip and then you put it on. Look at it. Look from head to toe. You got to profile a little bit. And it's a different look. Yeah, it's a different look. Don't fit right here. Don't fit right there. It's not exactly what you thought it was. Well, it was online, so you really didn't see it anyway. You look at things differently when you have them in front of you, right? They smell different, taste different. So you start looking at things through a different lens, and this is what you have to look at when you're making that self assessment. You can't sit and blame. You guys say, okay, so let's talk about how this really happened. This is how we met. This is how it went down. Right? Should I be mad at him or her? Why? It's just like, a lot of sisters, date these. Let me not say sisters. A lot of women date these men who have potential, but they bums from the gate. But you riding on, he's got potential. Because that's what my first wife told me. Because I told her I was a bum when you met me. When I met, what meant by that, I had no sense of responsibility to other anything other than the paper. I was on the paper chase, right? That's what I was doing. I was hustling. I was working, hustling. Hustling. Right? I was doing my thing. Period. I didn't have any sense of responsibility. I was young. I got married. We got married I was 24 when I got married. I was about that life, just so I didn't have any idea about. I never thought about fatherhood. I didn't start thinking about my father until many years later. Right? So that wasn't no thing. I mean, the relationship with him and I, came about at some point, and then you know, but I wasn't until I was like 35, 30. I think I was 30, 34, 35 then when I began to establish a relationship with my father. So that's the same for all of us in any situation. Anybody's capable of meeting somebody and saying, "Yo, how you do it," and it happens. But be gentle on yourself. Understand the fact that, yeah, that's what I want, and this was the outcome. It wasn't the outcome, the desired outcome, but this was the outcome. And we have a child. How do we work through that? Why do we have to talk nasty to people? Why do we have to talk down to people? Because we're not together in that capacity. So what? Your parents. Show some respect to each other. Show some civility to each other. Like, what's the attitude all about? How's that helping the child? Right? You still playing that game. This is your father. This is your mother. You need to respect. And each parent needs to encourage respect, ongoing respect, regardless of anything else. When the child gets older, if it's still some contentiousness between the two of you, maybe both of you and the child needs to sit down and get everything out. Age specific. It's not something you want to have a conversation with somebody who is under the age of 18, maybe even 21, depending on where their maturity level is. But you have to be civil to one another. Hey, you know what? Listen, we can change this. This was my role. This is how things went. Right? And we have a child. And it has to be mutually agreed that this is how we're going to move forward. All this, well, it's my child. Like, stop using that kind of language. Stop saying this is my child, my daughter, my son. You know, you have that, but if that was of real interest to you, why aren't you together? Because if you really want to be a part of that child's life, then you make every effort to rectify the issues between the two of you. What happened to my article? You make every effort to rectify what's happening between the two of you. Have a conversation, a civil conversation. Pop the article off. Have a civil conversation with one another. Say, hey, listen, we need to fix this. You know, it affects school. It affects every area of the child's life. The other one is find someone you trust to talk to about your experience to get a different perspective. Right? You 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 need to talk to somebody, you know, who ain't gonna co-sign your stuff. You keep going to your friends. Your friends ain't got no man. They ain't got no woman. They in a bad situation themselves. You know, they don't have any kind of good relationship with the the child's parent, other parent. They don't. You know, they're not the ones to talk to. Stop talking to people who aren't seeking resolve for things. You talk to somebody like a lot of times your friends are ops to your partner, and that just doesn't make sense for you to have a conversation with them about like what you did. See, if you're only having a conversation that hinges on what he did, then what about what you did? What you did initially, how you started all of this, how and why he feels or she feels this way towards you. Your bitterness, your controlling, right? Because well, we ain't in no relationship. We ain't never been in no relationship. Therefore, you can't say nothing to me. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can because I'm the parent of that child. So I have every right to say anything I want to. Yeah, I can. So don't just talk to anybody. Talk to somebody who's going to be neutral, who's going to be straight up and honest with you. Like, yo, it is what it is. Y'all arguing about old stuff. It ain't even nothing between the two of you. What are y'all arguing about? Reflect on boundaries that matter to you to help ensure that you enter any future relationship with greater intention and peace of mind. Right. So that's another part about all of this is that establishing boundaries. You establish the parental boundaries. This is how we do this. This is how we do that. Nah, we ain't going to hit it every now and then. We ain't doing none of that because that's dangerous. Right? It's dangerous for the fact that we'll be in another situation like we are now, arguing and debating and all this chaos about this one child. Now we want to keep on going back at each other. You have another child, and then so on and so forth. But then the list gets really long. And after a while, it's just, so you got to stop doing that. Right? We talked about what a situationship is often uh, uh, entails in terms of the interaction between two people, or says two or more people, because depending on the situation, sometimes other people, are involved, depending on the twist, right? But friends with benefits, booty calls, they call it fun buddies, but you know what the buddies I'm talking about, because that's what you ultimately are. And there are a lot of people, that's all they want. Yeah, that's all they want is front buddies. Yep, that's it. But don't say it. Don't say it. That's all we doing. You you think you in a relationship? Nah, they just wanted. Nah, just wasn't none of that. So we talked about allowing yourself to grieve, be gentle with yourself. As you grieve the end of this, situation. Just it's what it was. A situation. The situation. We're not talking about an entanglement there. Don't let it be confused with that. This is a situation. And that's how that concluded in last week's show. So we talked about getting a different perspective, the embarrassment and all that comes along with doing this. And again, just talk to the right people. Don't just talk to anybody. Because you need to start unpacking this baggage, especially when there's a child involved. So the last thing that we were getting to was reflect on the boundaries that matter to you. The end of any relationship comes with a major gift tucked inside the pain, the chance to learn and grow. Right? A major gift tucked inside the pain, right? The chance to learn and grow. If you don't give yourself what you've been afforded, right, then you will always live this bitter kind of life. And just think, if there's a child involved and you're bitter, you have all this contentiousness, this lasts into the child's adult life. That's how long this lasts. Into the child's adult life. And depending on how responsible or irresponsible that child is, will determine the level of need. So if it's a child who just muck their life up, right? They're over 18, they're still living in that same home, right? You're gonna keep getting those phone calls. You're gonna keep getting those interactions until that thing is resolved. And then that child, comes into adulthood the right way and moves on with their life. But when this ain't over. Under the age of 18 by law, you're responsible. You're responsible. So you're going to have to deal with this thing for 18 years at minimum. And you want to spend 18 years with all that baggage? Really? If you spend 18 years with all that baggage, you're going to have it for a lifetime. You're going to have it for a lifetime. Because it has been the thorn in your side for 18 years. You put it there. You put it there. Yeah, some of the things that your partner does triggers it. I get that, but the triggers are your responsibility to remove as well. But the trigger comes for a reason. So you have to start looking at how you're going to let this go. How you're going to give yourself the opportunity to learn and grow. A lot of people never grow, man. They just don't. They'll stay just the way they are. And you have to leave them just the way they are. Right where they are. You have to do that. That takes growth. And what I mean by leaving them there, don't put your energy there. That's how they're going to be. You need to learn how to deal with that kind of energy. Not expelling your energy, right? To do so. You have to learn how to stay on course. You don't have to belittle them. You don't have to degrade them. You don't have to be disrespectful. You have to stay the course, right? And keep going forward on your peace. On your peace. But you have to learn how to do that. You have to learn how to do that. You have to learn not to stay here, keep telling yourself over and over again and hear these things about this person. It's hard when you got somebody talking negatively about you to your child and not feel compelled to defend yourself. It's hard. But at the end of the day, that child has a responsibility as well. If that child is affording themselves the opportunity to learn and grow and they want some answers, they need to be ready for the answers. They need to accept the answers. But oftentimes the child doesn't accept the answers. The child has had that bad information given by the primary parent that is they've been so absorbed with it they don't hear anything else because that's what they choose. So that's on the child now. And again, by your contribution as parents, you contributed to them, right? You contribute that to them, and that's what it's going to be for the duration of everything. It's not going to be any different, right? So it's a trickle down thing that happens with that. It just goes on and on and on and on and on, and then that child passes it on to their children. The same condition, the same mindset, the same behavior. They keep the cycle going because they didn't seek out truths. So they just roll with something negative, and every time something happens in their lives that where they feel like that and things are not improving and getting better for them, they blame the other parent, the one that you told all this stuff about. You told all this negative stuff, and now they're bearing this stuff, and now they're feeling like, well, it's the other parent's fault because if they would have had or could have, then it wouldn't be this way for them. It's that. That's what it does, man. You gotta fix it. You gotta fix it yourself. It's nothing somebody else can fix. You have to fix that. You have a negative perception of the other parent. You need to fix that. And the bad part about it is the realization of this is right there when you have your own child. You see how difficult this is. You see how much of a struggle, how much of a challenge raising a child is. And it's even more difficult raising a child, right, when you don't have help. It doesn't necessarily have to be monetary help. Presence, support. Because you can't depend on family. That's not family's responsibility. It's not. Family can do the best they can. And all family members are not equipped to aid in raising a child. I had an aunt and uncle, my Aunt Dee and my Uncle Frank, who were very well equipped. I had two grandparents who were very well equipped to assist my mother, who was raising me and my sister by herself from the age of 5 forward. So you have to look at everything. You have to look at, you can change your life simply by owning up to stuff. I own it. I own it. Physical, spiritual, those are two aspects of parenthood that don't often come together. Sometimes you can be physically available and not spiritually available. Sometimes you can be spiritually available and not physically available. And what I mean by available in terms of not that you can reach me, anything like that, but there. I can be sitting in front of you and not be physically available. I can be sitting right in front of you and not be spiritually available because of a preoccupation with things that have nothing to do with you as a child. You have to look at all those things. People think because you come get your child and you take your child to the movie, that's physically available. No, that's not physically available. That's not. Taking the child to the movie is not a favorable outing. It's not a bonding moment. You take the child somewhere that it should be a moment that you guys can share memories of doing a thing together. Going to the movie is not doing a thing together. You think because you spent money for popcorn and the ticket that's no. You can sit in front of your TV at home and watch a movie. No. Going to the park, going to the playground, going to somewhere where memories can be entered into the mind of the child of things that I've done with the parent. That's why I'm working so hard, uh, you know, going on the search for grants so I can build Daddy's right here family visitation and education center, because that's the plan, man. Supervised visitation. You ever been to any of these places? You ever heard about any of these places? It's nothing. It provides nothing for learning and growth between the parent and child. Nothing. You got somebody sitting there watching you, making sure you don't do any perverted things, making sure you don't harm the child. They're just sitting there. And then they go back to the office and they write the note. Oh, yeah. Nothing that makes any sense. There's no growth going to happen in that. There's nothing that shows that I'm a good parent because I can sit there and look at my child for a good hour. Yeah, just sit there and stare at my child. There's nothing that we did together. There's no kind of engagement, anything like that, that's going to really happen. I don't want to be in this environment. How productive do you think I'm going to be as a parent? It's just stupid, but that's the system. So when people say that the system is broken, it's not broken. This is what the system does. Nothing. The system only puts in place layers of boundaries in place for when certain things happen that people oppose, right? And those people who are opposed to these particular things, are usually people who will never go through these particular things, who will never endure these kinds of things, but they sit in these lofty places and they look down into the valley and they say, okay, well, let's do this. No, we can't have none of that. So it's protections that they put in place for themselves. Things they put in place for themselves. Right? So back to the article. Having stepped away from your situationship, you now have time and space to think about the lessons you can glean from the experience. Right? You stepped away from it. It didn't say you're out of it. Having stepped away from your situation, you now have time and space. Right? Then they're not up in the crib. They ain't been there for a few days, maybe a couple of weeks. You have space now. What does the space look like without that person here? To you. It's an empty space. Is there an absence felt? Excuse me. Is there an absence felt? Because if you feel that person's absence, then it was more than what you told yourself you wanted it to be. Now you got to grieve that part because you started to care more than you wanted to. Maybe even teetering on love. Right? But you got the time now. You got the space to sit down and look at all these things in front of you and ask yourself, the first thing you ask yourself is, do I want to start this all over again with somebody else? Because that's what's going to happen. This situationship thing, it's common ground for you. You've been there before. Right? This is how you ride. And you keep telling yourself, I'm not going to get caught up this time. And you keep telling yourself that. So you never commit to a relationship because situationships allow you to be in control. And that's what's most comfortable for you. Excuse me, y'all. That's what's most comfortable for you. Therefore, you stay in this situation. You easily attach. You're very clingy. You stay stuck in these situations, right? Because you need to be able to control it. See, when you can control a situation, you know who's getting it. You want to be the only one getting it. You want to be the only one giving it. But we just in the situationship. But it's a confidence thing to know that I'm coming to something clean because it's just us. We cool. I'm good with just that one person. But it's a situationship. But then when it terminates, things go in another direction, you got to deal with that part. Yeah, you got to deal with that part. And you have to be honest about that part to yourself. If it's a child, you have to be honest about that part to yourself and the other person, the father, the mother. You need to have that conversation. We need to get our children back. We need to get our children away from the misguidedness on the streets. We spend so much time being critical of a failed education system, right? But the failure began at home. You can go to the library. You can get books. You can, play research this kind of games with your children. You do that. We keep, in so many ways, these cycles of hate, of divide going on within our own households, and they're projected, right? So that's a whole nother show to have that because of what we keep going. We keep this whole I don't need no man mindset alive, right? It's not about you needing a man. It's about the child needing their parent. And the child needs you to close your mouth, open your heart, and let the other parent be involved in whatever capacity. Take a look at your mouth and what you say out of your mouth and how you make the other person feel when they're around. Period. Men want respect, regardless of anything else. Respect is big. It's high on that list. You come and acting all disrespectful. No, you're putting me into a position that I don't need to be in. I don't need to hear your mouth because you have this unresolved towards me. I don't need to hear all that. Come on, I got places to go. You supposed to have been here. Okay. I apologize for being late. But all this, that, and the other, no, I don't need to hear all that. That's disrespectful. Plain and simple, it's disrespectful. Stuff like that causes, somebody to get slapped, somebody to get punched. And then that involves other people. The new dude, the new girl, right? Because they're going to protect theirs. And they're going to remind you how stupid both of y'all look going through all of this, right, when you have a child. So you're teaching your child the same thing, that cycle I was talking about. Can you identify what role that friend with benefits was filling for you? Or what they were offering that you felt was missing elsewhere in your life? See, here we go. Here we go. Friends with benefits. What role was that filling for you? So me coming over and laying up with you a couple days after we get it in, right? That's what you wanted, right? That's what you wanted. You could have got that from a dildo, right? But you didn't. Vibrator, but you didn't. Fleshlight, but you didn't. You took another person's life hostage, not realizing it was actually you who you were holding hostage, right? So what did that bring to you? What did that situationship bring to your life? How fulfilling was it to your life? So now that you identified that, you see this is the part of life, your life, that you have to deal with. Because if you keep going that direction for fulfillment, you're going to keep having the same outcome. And then that outcome brings its cousins: depression, shame, embarrassment, Yeah, that whole family comes over, whole lineage, because of a decision that you made, because you want to be fulfilled. Perhaps more importantly, can you define what you want for your next relationship? Now, I'm going to tell them up front that this is all this is about. Yeah. And they going to have to bring some condoms. Mhm. Yeah. You did this one. You selected this person based on particular attributes. That means that's the same exact thing that you're going to be looking for in the next person. The same attributes. The ability to mingle, right? Whatever the flavor it is that you're looking for, you're looking for that same flavor. Your flavor ain't changed. Your flavor ain't going to change. Only way that happens is oops, one day. That one particular person, it was just something about that one person that was not on your radar that gave you something. And you went in. And if that doesn't stand, you go right back to what's familiar. So you need to accept that first. You're going right back to what's familiar. Different face, same taste. It's left in your mouth when it's all said and done. It's going to be the same way. You're projecting the exact same thing. You're giving off the same energy. Your energy hasn't changed. You're trying to tell yourself that, well, this time I'm going to do it this way. Instead of him coming over, every weekend, we're gonna get together maybe during the week so I don't get locked into being able to do nothing else on the weekend, because that was the problem, because my friends were telling me that they weren't getting a chance to hang out with me no more on the weekend because I was always on lockdown, which is probably how I got stuck like this, all mushy and stuff in this thing here. Right. So this time what I'm gonna do is we're gonna see each other during the week, and maybe sometime, or like maybe Sunday morning or something like that. So but your selection is the same. Your selection is not going to change. That's your flavor, right? So you start using the Jedi mind trick about how you're going to do things. Let me see what we got here. Having stepped away from we covered that. Um, so we talked about the definition of what you want for the next one. And just add on to that, you want to see why you keep making that kind of selection. I'm not telling you it's a bad thing. If that's going to be your selection, that's going to be your selection. But you're going to have to learn something about that and what significance it has to you, because maybe it's something in there that you're missing about that flavor. See, maybe you're limiting yourself, but it's just a situation. It really ain't that deep. Well, at least not now. When the euphoria of it wears off in a couple of months, then. But so the next thing it says here, what sort of boundaries will you expect of yourself and your partner? See, and this is another big piece, because what's boundaries? Once you are in the position, especially for a woman, of complete and total nakedness, King Kong beating on his chest, he's on top, literally. You can't take him off there. He's up there. The woman is in the most vulnerable position she could ever be in. She is naked, nothing on her, total and complete surrender. I want you to look at that position. Very vulnerable position. Because this opens you up for anything. Anything. You are in the position now where, as a woman, that you will be dominated by this man. This man intends to fully dominate you, turning you all kind of ways, moving into all kind of ways, right? It's not just physical. This is spiritual. Stop convincing yourself with your vagina, with your penis. Stop convincing yourself that this ain't nothing. And it ain't nothing. Stop convincing yourself of that. It's something. It's bigger than what you've made it out to be in your mind. Your mind, you made it out to be fun. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. When I come out of this, and he's standing up, he ain't standing up for nothing. He can sit his behind down. But it's stand up time, coming in hot and heavy. Yeah, coming in hot and heavy. It's a whole different thing happening right now. Yeah. So, if all you want is the feeling, right? Maybe you should reconsider using another person and using a thing. There's a lot of things out there. When you start using another person, that's not right. You do damage to yourself and to the other person. And to that other person. And then comes a child. So what do you want? And it says here, I don't know, now it just kind of mixed apples and oranges because it says, can you define what you want your next relationship? This is a situationship. It's not even a relationship. It's not a relation. In relation to what? Relating to what? It's not a relationship. It's a situationship. Here's the situation. I'm horny. Let's get it. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. Yo, what's up? That's okay. And that's it. So it's not a relationship. So this is a different language that they start talking about, and they got off focus because it's not a relationship. It's a situationship. If this was about, relationship, then grieving a relationship is different than grieving a sex ship. It comes along with many of the same symptoms of pain, but it's a different conversation. But maybe that is what you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for a relationship and just don't know how to go about it and think that having great sex makes a relationship. Because that's a lot of misconceptions about that. We get it in often. Therefore, we in a relationship because we see each other like that. But nobody ever says, listen, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. Now, we just start off in the situationship. And then somewhere along the line, we take our baggage and we deboard the situationship and board the relationship. All these ships, we're always on tour. Relationship is the first thing that we experience as children. So we get off of that and we go on to the situationship because that's the fun one. the relationship stuff. I don't want to deal with all the relationship stuff, but you're dealing with the same stuff, but you use the Jedi mind trick to convince yourself that the situation shit takes me on a different ride. It does. But then when you get on the relationship, you'd be like, wait a minute, this looks almost the same. It's only what you tell yourself. But what sort of boundaries will you expect of yourself? Right? Because boundaries aren't just for keeping things out. Boundaries are also for keeping things in. Right? So a lot of people think, okay, I'm going to put this boundary here. Nobody can come across that. Over here, nobody can come across that. But you're the one who's crossing your own boundaries. You're crossing the boundaries. Yeah, you I nevers. How many I nevers have you done? Yeah. So you gotta look at what boundaries actually represent. Boundaries keep things out and keep things in. So part of your boundaries has to be, okay, protected sex, condom, right? Birth control is what it is. It's not 100%. Because it's all about timing. It's all about the windows of when you take it. Are you taking it when you're supposed to? You know, how long are the protections there? Understanding science is important because you need to know. Well, I haven't taken my pill in 2 days, but it's good for your system is saturated with. It's just like taking a antidepressant? You know, is it good for 24 hours or do I usually have to like be away from it for a certain? You know, you gotta look at all those things. Those are the boundaries you have to start looking at, though. You know, and don't think if you go get yourself an older dude that he ain't gonna have no live sperm because I'll prove that one wrong. But it's a matter of what boundaries do you set for you? What boundaries do you set for you? Is sex that important to you that you can't abstain? Yeah. And what are you waiting for anyway? Why the lifestyle of being single? So you can mingle? What? So every time you get a tingle, you listen for a jingle? Huh? Come on. And what boundaries do you set for your partner? Because to get into a situationship is just not just it doesn't come without some conversation. Nonverbals, that's conversation, right? Because I hit it real good because of the oohs and ahs, that's conversation. The kiss goodbye is conversation. The message that I send when I get home is conversation. Those are conversations being had without sitting down talking about what's going on. You know what's going on. Don't play the game of, well, no, I ain't know. I thought we was just, in many cases we do. We just think, yo, we just getting it in. But nobody has the conversation. We just move on like we moving like that. And that's how it goes. Right? Hey, Philly kitten. So we have to have that conversation. Plain and simple. Because there's a connection. There's always going to be a connection when you're hitting it right. Always. Always going to be a connection. Even after y'all move through this situation, shit. Yeah. You gonna always remember when somebody hitting it right. Yeah, that's definitely the one. Yeah, she did it for me. Right? Regardless of the outcome. Many relationships end because of bad behaviors of the other partner or bad behavior of the other partner. It doesn't change the fact that sex was great. Sex was not our issue. Not our issue. We was good. That was the best part of the relationship. Our issues was communication. Our issues was you being violent. Our issues was your drug use, your alcohol use. Our issues was letting things linger. Wasn't sex. That's why so many people wind up back, with their ex, because sex wasn't the problem, right? So when that situationship, something goes down and it goes the other way, you're still single. You're still single-minded in thinking and doing. Therefore, listen, ain't no, and we do it again, and we right back in the same position again. So, what boundaries are you setting for yourself and your partner? You're gonna tell your partner, listen, when I call you at 1 o'clock in the morning, don't answer the phone. Block my number. I don't want to be in this position. Just block it. Just block it. The Jedi mind trick kind of stuff. No, just don't call. Just don't call. When it comes to relationships, what values matter most to you? What values matter most? So you have to be asking yourself at this point, you're sitting there with your phone in your hand, right? You done went through the contacts, the number's right there in front of you. All you have to do is press that button to make that call. You're sitting there literally staring at the phone. Your heart is just palpitating. You're sitting there. You want to make that call. You don't want to make that call. You need to bring some resolve to that. It's just like when you want to get high. You got the drug right there in your hand. You're looking at it. What are you going through in this moment? Right in this moment, what are you going through? What are you feeling? Not what are you thinking yet. What are you feeling? Right? Heart racing, sweaty palms, right? You're going through it. But then you're driving yourself crazy. Now, if I call, I know she's going to she'll come if I call. But then if she come, I don't want her to stay. And then if I tell her she got to go, then that's going to be hard. And we right back to where we were. And that's how we parted ways before. But it's good, man. It's good. You just don't understand. It's a place that we don't like being in, but a place we continue to put ourselves in. And then we get mad at ourselves for putting ourselves in a situation. We beat ourselves up. We say things that are hurtful to the other person. Nah, you got to go. Got to go. No sense falling asleep. You got to go. I'll holler at you later. Right? So again, that person cares, you hurt their feelings. You hurt them. You break their heart. Because maybe they're thinking, maybe we can make something happen out of this. So you got to look at all the harm that you cause. Because you just want to feel good. You just want to feel good. That's why it tells you in this article to look at, to identify what the role of that friend with benefits has in your life. It's not right when you start putting your life together with pieces of other people. That's what they did with Frankenstein. I don't know if you know that. Frankenstein had different parts from different human beings. So when you're having all of these situationships, you got one girl who does this for you, one girl who does that for you, one dude who's help paying the bills, one dude who's carrying a nine in his jock, and I don't mean like a 9mm. You know what I'm saying? Big Dick Willie kind of dude. You got all these different people who make up your life, and you happy with that. So you tell yourself. And then as each one of them starts gradually falling off, you find yourself missing parts. And then you start looking for replacement parts. But do you realize that the parts for the 1980 GTO are no longer available. They don't even make those parts anymore. So you have to find a shop, a place. And when you find that place, what happens? It costs you more, much more to acquire that part. It costs you much more to acquire that part. It's only one or two places you can get it from. And it costs you a whole lot more for that part. And sometimes you can't even get the part. Sometimes they have to customize the part. Now it's even more expensive. You following me here? It's a cost. It's a cost. So when you just stop altogether, putting yourself in those situationships, right, you have less pain put upon you. You drag all that with you. All that is your reputation. All that is your value. Some point in time, you have to cut it off and say, that's it. That's your boundary. I'm not doing this to myself anymore, let alone doing it to somebody else. I'm going to stay abstinent. Or I'm going to seek out the person who is going to be able to fulfill that which I sought in a situationship. Because there's somebody out there who's good with it. But look at it from this perspective. If they good with it and you good with it, that sounds more like a relationship than a situationship. Because that person is fulfilling that area of your life, that emptiness of your life. They're fulfilling that. Everything is good. We have an understanding. That's a relationship. So why are you avoiding being in a relationship? You keep being in these situationships. Gets a little strange sometimes, doesn't it? So it says when it comes to relationships, what values matter most to you, right? Emotional connection, physical attraction, commitment, shared interests. These are the things that you have to put in perspective. But when you look at all these things that it's got right here, these values right here, right? Emotional connection, right? Do I need to be emotionally connected to you? Or is it just a physical thing? Like, in other words, don't talk. Just get it in. Let's go. That's it. Don't talk. I don't know, how long that's going to last, because the emotional connection has to happen, because sex is a spiritual action. No matter what you tell yourself in your mind, right? When I grip them hips and I go deep, yeah, I'm trying to go somewhere with this. Feeling good is part of it, but I'm on a whole different mission, right? The way I'm handling you, I'm on a whole different. So I'm creating something. It's spiritual, man. That's happening there. I'm not talking. You understand, and understand what spiritual means. So all these things are tied into each other, right? And then when that release comes, right? I'm getting chill bumps now, right? But you just think about that. Think about everything that happens. No matter what you have convinced yourself of in trying to keep this boundary in place, you've already compromised your value. Excuse me. You've already compromised your value, because you still value yourself. You still value that part of yourself that you're sharing with somebody else. You still value it. But because you convinced yourself that this was just a situationship, you thought that the value of your genitalia was going to change. You value those things for a reason. Because you know Oh, you know what you're giving to him. You know what you know how you standing up in there, right? You know what you're feeling in that moment. Anything that can make you feel that damn good is going to get you locked and loaded every time. That's how people become addicted to anything. If it's good, damn right, I'm going back to some more. And it takes you on a whole different trip. But you're telling yourself, we're not committed. We're not committed. You keep telling yourself that as you turn over, as you get up on your knees, as you get behind her, as you get in front of her, as you look deep into her eyes. We're not committed. This is fun. This is fun. Come on, you're playing the Jedi mind trick with yourself. So when you see these things happening, that's why it's talking about in this article, give yourself a chance to grieve. Don't beat yourself up. You're not the only one. We've all done it. We all do it to ourselves. And we beat the hell out of ourselves when we do it. Caught up again. It's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay. Right? It's not okay that you destroyed your life, their life, and probably the life of a child. It's not okay. It happened. So the article ends with getting as specific as you can about the type of partner you want moving forward. And again, the language in this article is a little bit confusing because the title of the article is about being in a situationship. The verbiage that's been used throughout keeps referring to partner relationship, entirely different terms. So it becomes confusing because it says how to recover from a situationship. Well, that's all we went from situationship to relationship, right? To partner. Those terms don't work together. A situationship is just that. You're not a partner. We're not in a relationship. Well, we're relating, but we're not in a relationship. We are in a situationship. Here's the situation, right? You got a big booty. I want to be on duty. Plain and simple, right? That's the situation. A relationship involves much more in terms of it's not just sex, it's other commitments, it's other values to be upheld. There are other boundaries to be established into what we're doing moving forward, what you're expected to do, and what I'm expected to do. And the type of partner you want to be can help ensure that you enter into any future relationship with greater intention and peace of mind. Why would you want a situationship? What is about that kind of arrangement that you feel, that you think is more fulfilling than having a relationship? Why do you settle for a situationship? Because you are settling. You can call it something else, it's fine, but you are settling. You deserve more. You know you deserve more, but you need to control this. And you can't control, see, you can't control a relationship. Follow me? But you control it. You need to control it. So you put barriers up along the way. They're not boundaries, they're barriers. They're put there because you want to prevent a certain thing from happening. Why? Why do you not want to fall in love? Why? What are you afraid of? What have you experienced in the past? What trauma have you experienced in the past that keeps you locked into these situationships that have the same outcome as a failed relationship? But they can't have success because of the barriers that you put up. So the situationships are just you trying to find a situation that you can control and don't have to deal with the pain of the absence, but you deal with the pain of the absence. You do. It's a part of your life. It's a part of your structure. Every week, I see him on Thursday and Friday because during the week I'm working. He's working these Thursdays and Fridays. Is good. That's my pastime. Get it beat it up, and we good. I'll see him next week. That's the routine. The routine gets broken when we stop seeing each other. You grieve, you become depressed, you become angry, you become bitter. You take yourself through all of this, but then you move on to the same person with a different face, and you go through the same cycle. Is that fulfilling for you? If it's not fulfilling for you, then you need to change it up. But anywho, we are at the hour. We are at the hour. So as always, listen, you can be doing anything else on a Saturday morning than sitting here listening to my mouth. But you're here by choice. Thank you for making that choice. Make sure you check out the product, man. You know, a lane for you. It's your product line that's out. Listen, so make sure that you check it out, right? Like I said, the first collection comes out within the next few days. If you know anything about my artwork, you've seen my artwork on my album covers for my music. That's a small part of it. I got so much more to come. Great prices. Look for some bundle deals coming up. Look for the collection, the Ashley collection. I'm sorry, the Ashley collection is supposed to come out first. So this collection is coming out. It's actually the Bianca collection. Let me see what we got going on here. Oh, God. All right. So listen, again, thanks for tuning in. I'm your host as always, Sabir Aleem. Peace. This is my last single that was released about 3 months ago. Bottom Feeders. Stay tuned.
In front of the camera, setting bait. Media propaganda, let's stand just for the hate. They're waving to the crowd, spewing empty promises. The applause is loud. Damn, you still fall for this. It's a dog and pony show, threatening the woke. Donkeys and elephants, a three-ring circus, rope with dope. They ignore the sin, hook, line, and sinker. They only want followers, not independent thinkers. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are home, their faces are two-tone. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are home, their faces are
two-tone. Their faces are two-tone. Up and away, superheroes to many, saviors for some, a taker of pity. They are here to distinguish the 1%'er's voice. Their souls extinguished, their minds destroyed. For you against you, all in the same breath. With us against us, it's a loyalty litmus test. Patriotism, dictator, diffusion, schizoid prism, it's a democracy illusion. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are two-tone. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are two-tone. Their faces are two-tone. Their faces are two-tone. Yeah, their faces are two-tone.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. Oh, it's just my dad. My dad. My dad.
They call it a chamber, because of the manger. In God they trust not, fallen angel, no stranger. And until they die, from their seats they will cry. To our faces, telling lies, they're complicit, no surprise. The ceiling is high, they think the same of you and I. What they call woke is a politicized form of divide. All lives no matter, just listen to the idle chatter. They're hiding in plain sight because they fear the smoke and spatter. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are two-tone. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are two-tone. Their faces are two-tone. The body count is growing from the propaganda they're sowing. They're hiding the hand, want to keep you not knowing. Peace seems to come through war, but war doesn't bring peace. Residual effects are an intermittent release. They think you'll be called, then they'll call one for you. Presenting arms as though they adore you. They're journalistic in nature, maturation miss. They turn the other cheek and receive a Judas kiss. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are two-tone. Political leaders, sweet bottom feeders, men who are on their faces are two-tone. Their faces are two-tone. Their faces are two-tone. Yeah, their faces are two-tone. Y'all have a great weekend. I'm your host, as always, Berlin. I'll see you next Saturday. Yeah, next Saturday, 9 a.m. Make sure you check out my music on all your favorite streaming music platforms. Yeah, all of them. I'm on all of them. But like I said, I have a new single coming out within the next couple of weeks. It's a remix of an older song. Yeah. Peace.